So hey, what's going on? Scruggs here. Last video, we went down to the river and had a little issue with the Pexmore trolling motor. Found that didn't work, and Earl ended up smacking the motor 2 or 3 times, and it started working. We didn't have any problems with it on the river, but the other issue was after we got it running, we found that the motor itself would turn on the shaft. In other words, it would just spin around. So, I'm not really sure what happened, but I think I have an idea, and that's what we're gonna try to determine today. Um, we ended up just tightening up the shaft into the motor for the trip, and now the head, the control, is not centered. So I have a suspicion that what happened, and I've never had this happen with a trolling motor, is honestly we're pretty rough on these motors, and in the rivers anyway, because a lot of the rivers around here have a lot of sticks and stumps, and just stuff that you hit, and sometimes it's avoidable and sometimes it's not. And I think what happened is maybe we hit something and it loosened the motor up on the shaft, therefore allowing water into the motor, and that's probably why it wouldn't run, because I got a feeling it's rusted inside. But we're gonna pull it apart, see what's going on. The other thing that could have happened, and I've had this happen before, but it was with a really old Minn Kota. We hit something and the magnet inside broke loose, and I'm not gonna pull this motor completely apart. I'm not going to pull the whole thing down. I just want to see if it's rusted and just kind of go from there. I think I've got some electrical cleaner here, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this. I'm going to show you all the motor down here. I've got it inside my shed, my canopy shed, which seems to be doing pretty good with these boards that I installed. I noticed that one of them has moved, but I guess I forgot to put zip ties on it. So anyway, yeah, let's check this motor out. So that's the motor, and you can see where that head is angled to the left. And yeah, it's I kind of liked that because when I was using it on our trip with my seat raised, I was able to sit in the boat and just do this with my arm, and direct the boat where I wanted it. Now, there was an issue with this. If I wanted to shift sides in the seat or turn the seat, I can't reach it. So that was one thing that was kind of problematic. But I did like being able to do that. But what the main back is, I can't stay in one position long. I have to shift and turn. So we're going to put it back originally straight with the motor. So we cranked down on this thing pretty hard. So I don't know what it's going to take to get it loose on the shaft again, or to get the shaft loose in the motor. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the motor apart first before I try to do that. So one good thing is the motor does turn still. That's a good thing. Alright, I'm going to take this nut off here. I got a special tool to get that nut off. I got this special tool here. This actually came with the motor, and it also fits the battery nuts on my battery, so that's pretty cool. Just kind of sits down in there. Oops, there's a washer there. Don't lose your washer. Slide this pin out. So we have two bolts here. Before I take this off, there's usually an O-ring here, but I like to take a paint pen and I like to mark this so that I get it back exactly like where it's supposed to be. Alrighty. So what I do is I just make a little mark so that everything stays in alignment. When I go back together, see what size these are here. That is an 8mm. I've had my Minn Kota apart, and I'm going to assume this is the same. And these bolts are really long. They go all the way down to here, assuming that it's the same. So kind of be careful with them, because if water did get in here, possible that it could be rusted, the bolt to the motor housing, and then you're going to have a big problem. There's also there should be seals on these bolts. Can't believe the threads are this long on these. The hardest part on the Minn Kota anyway was getting these bolts in the holes. Man, these things are threaded long. There we go. Now there's a seal here that prevents water from getting into the motor. Now I need to get this off, and it should just slide right off. Technically it should just slide right off. It's a tight fit. There we go. And then looking at these bolts, water has gotten in here. You can see some droplets there, so that could be the issue. There again, that could be condensation also. One thing I am not seeing, there's some grease in there. So one thing I'm not seeing is it's rust. But there is condensation in here. I'm going to flip this around, see if any water comes out of this. Yep, there we go. I hope y'all seen that. So, I got a feeling that is what has happened. So again, I don't see, I mean, there's some rust right there. I think what I'm going to do, instead of pulling this whole motor apart, is I'm going to take a fan and I'm going to dry this out. Because taking this whole motor apart, this piece comes off here. And, hold on, you got a delivery. So anyway, what I was saying was, I think I'm just going to leave well enough alone. The motor's turning. I don't see any rust on the magnet. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray some contact cleaner in this, and then take a fan and set in front of it and just dry it out and just put it back together. So yeah, I got a feeling that's probably what happened. We're going to have to seal this here, and I think we'll be okay. So I got this CRC electronic cleaner, safe for sensitive electronics. We used to use this on computers and stuff at work. I'm just gonna give her a spray. Drain her out. set this on its side back here. He's got a little personal fan here, and we're just gonna dry this out. Yeah, we're just gonna let that dry out, and then we're just gonna put it back together, so not a big deal. We'll bring you back. I'm gonna let that fan run probably for about an hour and dry that stuff out real good. So we'll be back in a little bit. So I just got a little grease here. We're going back together, and just to kind of help it, we're just gonna smear this. Put a little on this. There's a washer on the end of this, so kind of be careful. I'm just gonna put a little on this shaft here, kind of help go through that bearing, and then we're gonna make sure that we're lined up here. Actually, you know what? I'll put a little on these threads here. Not a lot. So I'm kind of happy that that this thing's not rusted up. And I guess not a whole lot of water got in there, because it's not as rusted as my my Minn Kota. That was pretty bad. And then we're just gonna slide these down, find our hole. This is the hard part, is finding the hole. You got a washer. Oh, no, the washer doesn't go on that. That. And then just line up this with your pin. Then the washer. And your nut. Alrighty, now we have to address the shaft. So I'm gonna take this off just so that it's not in the way. This didn't come with the Pexmore. I bought that separate. Got that off of Amazon. We cranked down on this thing pretty hard, so I don't know what it's gonna take to get it loose. There we go. She broke loose. Yeah, see, this is what it was doing. It was kind of just flopping back and forth. So I don't think it's going to be a good idea to turn that whole shaft, because I think the wires are going to twist up in there. So now we're going to have to take the head off. should be the last one here. Alright, so got this head here. This has the let you know how much you have left, and it's actually it's nice that they did this. They actually put a connector in there. See if we can get this handle off. I don't think I had to take that screw out. I think I've got to take that screw out right there. It's got that little fork in it, and this whole piece will come out. So let me take that out. And I'll probably just have to loosen it, I'm guessing. Yeah. There we go. I believe this, yeah, this will slide off now. That looks like it's just one way only. Yeah, it's got a flat spot on one side. Alrighty. We need to take off the wires going down the shaft. That's the ones that we have to take off. So it's the red, the white, and this black. We're going to take a picture here. And the yellow, oh yeah, the yellow's got to come off also. So actually, these are all color coded, but the two blacks are different. So blacks go to different places, so we're going to take a picture anyway. Because basically we don't want the wires to twist in the shaft is what we're trying to avoid. Alright, well, let's get these off. Remove this head. I think we're going to have to drill new holes for the head anyway, because I don't think it's going to line up correctly. I think that maybe something has, either the threads have gone further than what they're supposed to, and I'm just guessing that. Oh, that's got a nut on it. These have nuts on them. Oh yeah, they all have nuts. Darn, I'm glad I noticed that. Don't want to lose that nut. Damn it. Stick this plastic cup under here so that I do not lose any of these nuts, because they are extremely small. These nuts are super small. You definitely don't want to lose any of these. Just to show you how small they are. See, I'm going to install this screw back in here so that I don't lose that one. Alright, so we have all of our shaft wires off. Let's see what we got. Well, that is not good. So, I don't know. Alright, let's see here. Let's get this up here. Got like a hard spot in it. So it looks like there is some kind of epoxy there. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to work this back and forth and try to get this thing unscrewed. At least enough to where I can get some kind of sealant on it. So yeah, let me put y'all in hold mode, and I'm going to see if I can work this thing loose. I don't have a vise. I need to get me a vise, which would make things a whole lot easier with this, but I don't have one, so we're just going to have to work it back and forth and see if I can get this shaft, nothing else, get it up enough to where I can get some threads, where I can see some threads, because I can't see any threads in it. So we're just going to work it back and forth. We'll bring you back in a minute. Alright, so I think I've got this thing enough to where it can turn, and what's happening is the wires are staying in place because of the bolt that goes through here. So the wires are twisting up, so I'm going to have to remove this head off of here. And basically that's just one bolt that goes through here, and it's got an Allen head. That's unreal. I must have threaded it through the hole. Yeah, they threaded it through the plastic. Also, now there's a nut. You don't want to lose that. Now this head should come off. And just pull our wires through. And there's that. Alrighty, now let's take this off just to make things easier. Alrighty. So, I don't know what it is, but it wasn't much on it. So this is what we are going to do. So hey, I had to take a break because my phone battery was going dead, but I found the stuff that I wanted just recently. Now, I have done this before. I had to replace a shaft, which I broke myself on my Minn Kota 3 years ago, and I'm going to put a link to that video down in the description. And the reason is that shaft, I did that at work, and I'm glad I did, because I had to heat up the motor at the top where the thread section is, because that thing would not come out. The shaft wouldn't. Minn Kota used some kind of epoxy, and you can see it on the threads. This Pexmore, I don't see anything on the threads. And I think the only thing that was sealing it was where the valley is in the top. And I'll show you that when I get it all back together. But just recently, somebody had made a comment on that video. Now, remember, that video was 3 years old. And when I put the shaft in, and I'm going to use the exact same stuff that I used in that video, a little bit of criticism for it, and I'm not going to say criticism, but somebody had mentioned that I shouldn't use a gasket sealant because the motor could come loose like it did this time. Well, obviously the sealant or whatever that they used at Pexmore, and I don't know exactly what happened to the motor, but I suspect that it hit something in the water and it loosened up, and that's how the water got in it. So the sealant that I used, and I'm going to use the exact same thing, is Honda Bond. Now, Honda Bond, they use that for working on Hondas, and it is not a gasket sealer. It is a gasket, period. Honda Bond is used, it's like putty gasket is what it is, and it's used mainly in transmissions. Now, I don't know if they still use it, because I've been out of the game now for about 2 years, but they still sell it. And you use Honda Bond where gaskets aren't available. So in other words, when you put a transmission together, Honda doesn't use gasket material, as in say a rubber gasket or a paper gasket like Felpro or something like that. Basically, you just squeeze Honda Bond, slap it together after letting it sit a few minutes. It's good to go. It's waterproof, it's oil proof. Don't think it's gasoline proof. Yeah, it's antifreeze proof. So that's what I used in that video. And in addition to that, I put just a very, very small amount of blue Loctite on the threads. Now, there was also another comment in that video, because I did have such a hard time getting that shaft out, that said that Loctite is what the factory uses. Now, I tried to go online and I couldn't find. AI says that Loctite can be used. Well, I'm not using red Loctite. In the place that I found shaft just recently, after that comment was made just here recently, I just Googled, what is the sealer that is used for the shaft on a trolling motor, on the threads. And Loctite came up, 3M 5200, which that's junk in my opinion. I wouldn't use that for anything, just because of the hassle that I had with the hull drains. They had a picture of trolling motor Loctite is what it's called, and this company, trollingmotorparts.com, which is where I got the shaft from for the Minn Kota, sells it. So I'm going to put a link down in the bottom of that also. But in the 3 years that I replaced my shaft, I haven't had any problems with it. So I'm using the same thing. I'm going with Honda Bond and a little bit of blue Loctite. Take it with a grain of salt. You use what you want. I don't know if Loctite is actually waterproof. Now, the stuff at trollingmotorparts.com, it says that's waterproof. but I don't know the instructions on using that. So I don't know if you smear it around the whole shaft or what, and it really doesn't matter to me. I'm going to use the same thing that I used. I'm going with Honda Bond and just a little teeny bit of Loctite, and that's what we're going with. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because I did change the description of that video, and I did include a link to that trolling motor Loctite. I think that's what they call it, trolling motor tight or trolling motor Loctite or something. Probably don't use Loctite because that's a brand name. Regardless, don't give me a bunch of crap about it because I'm just using what I got. If I have a problem with it, then I'll just find something else, but I feel confident using the Honda Bond and the Loctite. So yeah, there we go. And you can get Honda Bond in case you ever, if you're a Honda guy, you can get Honda Bond from the dealer. You know, I've got several tubes because that's what I did. I worked on Hondas back in the day. So yeah, that's that. So as soon as my phone gets charged back up, we're going to get this thing all back together. Like I say, I think we're going to have to drill a hole in the shaft, a new hole, but we'll just see how it goes. Stick around. Thanks for hanging in there this far. Here's what we're going to use, Honda Bond. And we'll come back with a little blue Loctite. Not a lot, just a little teeny bit. And we're going to screw this right on back in. Alrighty, we're going to give it a good twist. Now, the last time I did this, I used a pair of channel locks and I cracked this. So we're not going to do that this time, but we are going to give it a really good twist. Big time. Now I'm going to come back with this Honda Bond and we're just going to smear this all around here. And this is going to take a good while for this to dry. It generally takes 24 hours. Like I say, this isn't the correct stuff to use, but this is what I'm using. It held fine last time. I'm sure it'll do fine this time. Well, we will find out anyway, one way or the other. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to drill a new hole, get this all back together so I can mark. The hole is pretty much 90 degrees off. I don't know. I'm guessing that whatever it hit tripped the thread further down on that shaft. And that's what we're going with. I don't think that's going to reach in there. It looks pretty much straight. Oh yeah, it did. All right. Awesome. Now it's going to smear. Watch. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get my drill and we're going to drill these holes. Well, I got it here. If I can get that in there. Take your head off. Tell you what, that head is a tight fit. And we are carefully going to drill this while looking down through this tube to make sure that we don't hit the, oh, this is interesting. Crap. Well, apparently those wires have been rubbing on that bolt, but it doesn't look like they're all the way through. God damn it. Wish I'd have known that beforehand. No, you're not. I wish I'd have known that though. I'd have put some tape on those. Okay. You know what? I'm not going to leave it like that. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Alright. I can't believe somebody did that. I think what they did from the factory, I think they just shot a drill through there and put a bolt in it. Let's see what kind of damage they did on these wires. Oh yeah. See if I can get y'all close up. It's probably going to be too blurry. That wire right there, you can see. That ground is all the way through. So we're going to wrap these up in tape. Yeah, that sucks. Well, it's better to find out now, because eventually it's possible that it could have shorted that motor out. So I got some shrink wrap here. We're going to see if we can find something that'll fit over these. I think this is going to be too big. I don't know. Let's try it and see. Well, that might be the addicted. Yeah, good deal. Awesome. Oh yeah, that'll work. We got a shaft here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and drill these holes out right now. Yeah, that hole's a little small. Let me change bits. So that hole is actually a 3/16. Just so that I don't forget which hole it is, being that I got two sets of holes now, I'm going to put a circle around the one that needs to be. That way after I screw it in, just kind of wallow it out a little bit there. Shouldn't need a drill anymore. Famous last words. Alrighty. We're going to feed our coat hanger through. Take all our wires. Oh. Just like that. I'm gonna tell you what, that's one heavy motor. Alrighty, now we're gonna reapply. Oops. Oops. You know, that was too much. These are some fine threads on this thing. I'm gonna tell you what. You definitely want to make sure you start them correctly, which we have. Now we're gonna take it on down. Alrighty, I'll crank down on her. Alright. Now, being as I overdid it with the Loctite, I'm gonna some of it drip down onto this Honda Bond. I don't want to contaminate it, so we're going to get that off, and then we're going to apply a bead around the shaft. And cross our fingers. I think we just need to be more careful. Of course, sometimes you can't always be careful because you just don't see things sometimes. But like I say, I did this 3 years ago on my Minn Kota, and I haven't had no problems with that. So we're going to cross our fingers and go with this. And you know what? The hole is off. I can't believe that. That shaft, something going on with that shaft. Maybe I just screwed it in tighter than I did last time, but it's not as bad as it was, I don't think. Turn it. Yeah, it's off right much. I don't want to loosen the shaft up. I tell you what, they don't give you a lot of room to run a bolt down in there with these wires. Well, let's just see how far off it is. Actually, I'm turning the head. Damn it. I'm turning the whole shaft. Now maybe we can get back to the original hole. I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's see if I can turn this enough. I think that'll do it. I tell you what though, it's still, I don't know. It's still loose right there. Damn it. We're not nowhere near. It's almost like that shaft needs to be threaded more. Just a little tiny bit. You know what? I think I'm going to try to screw this up. You watch. I'm going to end up breaking this. I'm going to attempt to turn this at the other hole. If not, I may just have to leave it like it is. So I'm not drilling another hole in it. Well, that's pretty damn close, to be honest with you. It's off just a little bit, but you know what? I'm not going to cry over it. Trying not to pinch these wires as I'm putting this through here. It shouldn't take this long to do something like this. What did I say? Famous last words? With the drill. Can't get it to line up in the nut. My back is giving out on me. Something simple as putting a bolt in. Wire is getting all in my way. It'd be so much easier if the bolt would just push through, but it's not. It's being a real pain. This wire, I'm going to tell you what. This wire is just totally in my damn way. Alright. These wires are coming off here. And I just lost the nut. I'll never find that. Yep, I lost the nut that goes in this. I gotta go buy another nut. I'm buying a longer bolt. And we're just gonna put a regular Phillips head machine screw in. Cause I'll never find that in this gravel. We will continue this tomorrow. I'm not going to the store this evening. Alright, so it's another day. Being that I lost the nut that goes onto this original bolt, went to the hardware store and I got a new bolt and a new nut. I couldn't find a Phillips head like I wanted, but I also found a longer one that has an Allen head. This is the original. And I did find another nut, so I'm not sure which one I'm going to use, but if you notice something here, thought about this last night, kind of getting ahead of myself there. Look, that's supposed to be all that before the head goes on. So I'm glad I didn't get all this done yesterday because I'd be taking it all back apart today. So anyway, we're going to continue on with getting this all together here. Yeah, the reason I wanted a Phillips head is because I carry a Phillips head on the boat in case I have an issue. That sticks out good. So I think we're going to use, this has a nylon insert in it. Nylon nut. I think we're going to go with a nylon nut. Alrighty. Let's see if we can get this thing to pull up now. Being as it's a nylon nut. Yeah, I'd much rather had a Phillips head, but they didn't have a Phillips head that was a 5x8. So it is what it is. Now this nylon nut is a little bigger, so it's not gonna set in the hole that it was designed for, but that's okay being as it's a nylon nut. I don't think it's going to come off. And the bad part is if I have something happen out on the water, I won't be able to get it on or get it off. But that's okay. It's not going to go anywhere. We're good to go. Alrighty. Now we need to get our switch and all back together. Get our wires back in. If I can remember how all this goes back together now. Basically, got these little clamps here. Hold this wire in place. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the right one. It's just an old plastic screw. And that's to keep the wires from pulling through the hole. And then they route around the bottom here, and then this little piece goes right here, and that just kind of holds it down also. And now we got our switch wires. Alright, let's see, I guess I need to figure out which way these wires actually go, because this actually sits down in here like so. So our red wire is gonna have to come around this way. This has a notch in it right here. It sits in this notch here. I'm just trying to figure out the way that these wires have to go. So I don't think I took a picture of it. Hold on, we'll be back. Hold on. Alright, we got it all figured out here. I'll show you what I did wrong. That's why you always take a picture. These pieces here didn't hold the red wire down and this black wire down. It held this one here holds the black wire coming from the trolling motor itself, the one that runs down through the shaft. This here is held in by this one so that it doesn't go anywhere. So, and then this one doesn't hold the black wire down because that's already held down by this. This holds down these other wires, and then they're run down through here like this. So yeah, now we've got to get our switch all put together. There's two blacks. This black goes to the trolling motor, and then this one goes to, if you look on here, it's got yellow, tells you the colors. Well, don't be confused. with, this one says black and this one says battery. But if you look, and it's kind of hard to see, it says battery negative. That's not positive. That's why I painted this red, because this is where the battery red wire goes here. So don't let that confuse you, because I was kind of confused. And the other thing is, these little nuts, they'll fall out, which was the reason they're not held in by anything. So that was the reason that I put the cup under here when I was taking it apart, because I didn't want to lose any of those. So when you go back together, kind of put your finger on them. And yeah, it's kind of a pain, but it is what it is. So this goes to the battery. This one here goes to the trolling motor, so that one's going to go to this one here. Like so. Yeah, just make sure that you hold that screw in place, because it will fall out. You don't want to drop these screws either. See, that one's coming out already. It's kind of a royal pain. You would think that they would figure out a better way to do that, but I'm just snugging these up for now in case I have to move them. And then this is going to be the battery negative there. The nut actually stayed in that one. So let's see here. Another little screw. It's kind of a pain, it really is. There just ain't no simple way to do it. Just be patient, which I don't have a lot of in my old age. Let's see, I'm gonna drop this. Let me get my little bowl over here. So all I need is for that to be dropping down the shaft. I'm probably going to speed this up, maybe put some music to it, because this is going to take a while. I'm almost thinking about gluing these in, but I don't think it would make good contact if I did that. So you almost have to have 3 hands to do this. Of course, if they'd have just made spades on these, it would have made it easier. I think that's how the Minn Kota is. I mean, it's not like they're going to come off. I don't know why you'd have to put screws on them. Alright, now the red comes in to play. Actually, I think I'm going to do these over here first. And make sure you don't want to get this all wound up in that stuff. Alrighty. That goes to the bot tree. I don't understand this. The red and the yellow don't have things to retain the nuts in the back. That doesn't make any sense. don't get that. Yeah, I don't understand that. Yep, see? That's what you don't want to do right there. That's why I put that under there. Alrighty, and that is the switch. So let's see if we can get all these wires situated in a way to where these will fit down in here. Can't believe there's just one thing that holds this all in. I tightened these down, but I didn't. I don't think I did. I think I just snugged them. Yep, I just did snug them. I'm glad I thought about that. That would have been bad. I'm gonna go ahead and go around and check all of them. There we go. Now I feel better. Yeah, I can't believe it's just one screw that holds this switch in. It's kind of crazy. Well, basically, if the mount for that switch breaks, you're kind of screwed. Alrighty. So again, this lines up with this little cutout right here. So I'm probably going to have to loosen this screw up again, because I don't think this is going to go in, or maybe it will. I think this has to set in a groove. Yeah. So I'm going to have to loosen this screw up. And then this piece here sets in this, there's a groove that this sets in. So you want to make sure that you're in enough for that, which we are. Put that there, and basically that holds it so you can pull it in and out like that. I'm gonna put just a little bit of lubricating grease right there, just to help it a little bit. Whether or not it does any good, I don't know. And I'm gonna put a little here. Now we are ready for our top piece, which here's that little clip I was telling you about. It's nice that they do that. And we'll stuff that down in there like so. And we'll put our screws in from the bottom. I'm not going to show you all that. But yeah, we'll hook it up after I get the screws in it and make sure it runs. Got a relay in. Heard the power come up. Three, two, one in reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alrighty. There we go. So all we got to do is put it in the water now. And good to go, hopefully. We'll see what it does anyway. This is a pretty long video. I know I'm gonna have to edit it up a little bit, but hopefully this helps somebody. Yeah, just lucky that the water didn't rust it all up. Last time this happened to me, my Minn Kota was sitting in my boat, and the boat cover that I had at that time was not waterproof. It was water resistant, and it allowed water to get all in the boat, and it actually filled the boat up. Which was the reason I put the scupper plug in, because I keep that open all the time so that if water does get in it, of course this cover that I have now is twice as thick as the other one. Still, it's not waterproof, it's water resistant, but yeah, that motor, the Minn Kota, sat in the water for months, and it really messed it up. I ended up having to put bearings in that, and there's a video I have for that if you want to replace bearings in your Minn Kota. Yeah, I'll throw that in the link down at the bottom, which is probably why I broke that shaft. It's probably the same video now that I think about it. But anyway, appreciate you watching, and hope somebody gets some use out of this. Do that over there for me. Keep on fishing.